the thrilling Titans-Dolphins game. We'll just start with that, just get it out of the way here, because not much to say other than Mike McDaniel seems lost and demoralized without Tua Tagovailoa. Has no way, shape, or form of how to adjust his offense to anyone else. And it doesn't seem like they have to. And then Will Levis had basically like the quintessential Will Levis game. Threw a pick right into a defender's chest, dove for a first down,
injured himself.
So yeah, it was not much to write home about on either side.
Said he didn't see a guy at one point.
That is of all the plays he's made this year, the other ones were just dumb. That's bad quarterback play.
That was bad.
How do you not see him? I mean, I know he dropped out, but how do you not see him? And then, by the way, why didn't they challenge on his play where he dove to get?
I know he got the first down. It's such a sad.
It was dumb. They should have challenged that. But
yeah.
And now, he said they said they were going to put him back in. I mean, it's not like Mason Rudolph is any good or actually did anything. They just turned and hand off and ran the ball 40-something times.
How many penalties do we see early in that game? It was like they were shooting themselves in the foot as a Titans football team with Will Levis out there at quarterback. And it was no surprise to me that you get a guy like Mason Rudolph in there who's been there and done it. He's won, 4 straight now as a starter. He was confident. He looked to be he wasn't panicking in the least. He was getting the ball out on time, running it when they had to run it. I give credit to that offensive line as the game went on. But Will Levis, it was like if you were unsure about Will Levis coming into this game, you watch it and you say, I'm not quite sure that this guy, is he a method actor playing a quarterback?
I wanted to see him. I didn't want to see him get. I wanted to see him play because you would have known. I think that's the situation where you find out if he comes out from underneath it, which he's done before. He did it against Miami last year when
in prime time, yeah.
Or was he going to finally curl up in the fetal position and that'd be the end of it? You know what I mean? If he had gone out there and thrown 2 or 3 more interceptions, then I think they might have actually taken him out. Mason Rudolph didn't do anything.
No, but I mean, he didn't do anything to hurt their chances of winning. I mean, they went out there and won the football game.
The question is, Levis healthy? He's your starter, right?
It has to be.
It's flat out. That's it at this point. I don't think there's any debate.
I don't know.
Stop it. He has to
Stop giving the ball to the other team. Stop putting yourself in harm's way, putting the football in harm's way.
Yeah, but
that's really the conversation.
He has to be the guy.
That's the conversation we're having today. And obviously, Miami didn't show up for a fight, and Mike McDaniel looked like the water boy coach who lost his playbook to Red Bow U and is pissing down his leg on the sideline. He looked a little bit lost out there. It's concerning. But the whole thing's concerning for Miami. And then you get Jalen Phillips out a number of times in that football game. You don't have a chance on defense either here with the way that the Tennessee Titans were doing it offensively. But I'm still not convinced. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt as the beginning of the season rolled on. But after last night, the interception he threw, hero ball again gets Will Levis hurt, diving on the sideline, extending his arm out. I just don't know.
If somebody else did that and they dove for a first down, they'd say, what a great effort
they would have the wherewithal to tuck the ball away and not reach it out on their arm. That's how you get hurt.
I think you go for a first down.
That's
I have no problem with that. The interception drove me. Of all the plays he's made the entire season, that's the one that bothered me the most because you have to see that.
Well, for Miami, it was obvious that they were outmatched on the offensive side of the ball early. And you know what? There was a point in the pregame where I was like, I really think Mike McDaniel will have something cool up his sleeve for Snoop Huntley and these speedsters at Miami. And you saw the end around with Tyreek Hill, and he got the corner, and he got a big explosive play at the beginning of the game. And I was on the edge of my couch, like waiting to see more of that. And as the game went on, it just looked like to be an inept offense. It was something that couldn't even get started for Miami. What did you notice from that offense?
It was primitive is what it was. I mean, they didn't try anything. I mean, you got speed on the outside and you get creative, get bubble screens, get stuff into Hill's and Waddle's hands. I think they didn't do any of that. Get A-Chain in the passing game. I mean, I didn't like anything they did, but I'm concerned about Miami from a bigger picture. Tua's not there. Fine. They'd be a different offense if he was there. But what about the offensive and defensive lines?
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting run on by a Titans team that was having problems last week against Green Bay. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't protect the quarterback. And yet they ran the ball right at him the entire game. Miami, let's be real. Miami doesn't practice like some other teams do. Now, nobody practices like they used to.
What do you mean by that?
It's very loose. It's very easy going. I'll give you an example. When the Commanders came and practiced with them, I was there that day. Getting ready to practice. They start practice. Commanders in full uniform, the helmets on. Some of Miami's guys, no helmet, almost like in shorts.
It's more like a mental day.
But it wasn't though.
Yeah.
So I think I've said this, and this is the perception of Miami around the league. You guys have heard it. Soft.
Lax. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
pretty, but
not
soft.
what you want to be in the NFL.
No, hell no.
But like when you lose, The injuries, they've suffered a ton. Offensive lines, like all backups at this point. Obviously, you're on your third string quarterback, so it's not that side of the ball. But defensively, this is what happened when you lost Christian Wilkins that people were worried about. It's like they were already not that great with him.
In the middle.
And it's like now without him, they really have no recourse. So,
and then on the other side of the ball, you're watching this Sweat character, this rookie from the Titans, and Simmons is on the sideline, so it's just Sweat out there in the middle, and he is absolutely holding his own, knocking back the line of scrimmage. And there was a point in the game where he had run so many sideline to sideline type action plays that the guy's just walking to the football. I think it was like play 70 for this guy, Sweat, on the field. I was so impressed with him early. If they can get him to play for 4 quarters, he is such a manimal in the middle.
He's a beast, but I shuddered. I was there in the summer, and I was talking to some people about him, and they got his weight down, by the way.
Yeah.
But already in 4 weeks, or since then, it's probably been 7 or 8 weeks, he looks like his weight is going back up again. And you know how people get, all players, we always talk about fat ball season, players gain weight during the season.
Muscle mass goes
down. They got him a dietitian there. And he was taking home the right food and stuff, but then they saw him taking home like 7 full Gatorades full of sugar. They said, well, if you're going to eat the good stuff, you can't take that with you and drink that. So
making sure he gets his sugars in.
He's got to keep his weight down.
Yes, he does. All right, that was a lot more than I expected to talk about Titans-Dolphins.
Well, we got it done.
All right, Seahawks-Lions, the actual, meat and potatoes of last night, 42-29. Lions offense that had been so quiet through 3 weeks. You're kind of like, when's it going to come on, right? Because Jameson Williams looked like, kind of the number one that they've never had there on the outside through 3 weeks, but then the offense still wasn't quite there. This was kind of the Detroit Lions offense that we know and love with Ben Johnson.
Yeah, shot out of a cannon. It starts up front with this offensive line for Detroit. You go out there in your first drive and you run the ball. I think they had like 65 yards on the ground in the opening drive, and it was different backs. It was different schemes, and just the one thing that was the same is that offensive line was rolling guys off the line of scrimmage. We saw Graham Glasgow in there at center, obviously Ragnow out, and I thought that was going to be a big deal having Ragnow out for that game with the pieces on the bench or, not on the field for Seahawks on their defensive line of scrimmage, but they dominated. I mean, it was a dominant performance from start to finish. Pete and I were talking about this before the game or before the show. I wonder what the number is in terms of your winning percentage going up when you run the football into the end zone with a running back. Line up, hand it off, and run it in. Detroit did that a number of times last night, and no matter how many points Seattle put up, it just felt like it was never going to be enough with this Ben Johnson offense. Jared Goff was incredibly efficient. I think he was perfect last night.
18-18.
He was 18 of 18, and he was maneuvering the pocket well. He didn't look to be panicking when the rush did get there, which was a rarity. But when it did get there, he was staying calm and delivering strikes. Yards after the catch, such a big deal for this Lions team, and it was so much fun to watch. And I got to tip my cap to David Montgomery. That guy runs the ball so hard. As an offensive lineman, if you're going to pick a type of running back to run your offense, you want a guy like Montgomery because he's going to hit the hole hard. He's going to make one cut, and when somebody does go to try to make a tackle on this guy, he's going to make him pay.
There are a couple things that you have to take into account. Seattle's defense was decimated. I mean, how many guys that would have been?
Byron Murphy out. You had Leonard Williams out. You had Chet Amos out. You had Boye Mafia.
Yep.
So you're starting D-line.
That's your defense.
That's it.
And that's what that was the difference in the game.
Right.
Yep.
Obviously. And then, but the flip side of it is the Lions secondary, for all the assets they've put into it, hadn't been as good. I mean, I know they haven't. They had the game against the Rams in the second half, gave up a ton. Then they got better, but again, last night it was back to being what they were, and they had problems.
Davis was pissed,
and
Carlton Davis just could not guard.
He was pissed. He could just tell it was a genetic opposite of a lottery.
He got called. They got called for a bunch of penalties. They got to tighten that up in the back end. I think that's been a little bit of a problem.
We'll see. It's very young too. So guys,
Davis was lucky he didn't get ejected. Honestly,
yeah, he did. He put his hand on the
way he was touching the official, yelling at the official.
Yeah.
The yelling would have been strike one. You put your hand on me, it's strike two.
Right,
and then I'll make up strike three. You're
right. I would have got him out of it.
I will say though, Derek Hall for the Seahawks had himself a nice day. Looked like the only guy who showed up on that defensive line. I also think Tim Patrick, the addition of him to this Lions, is an underrated addition, especially like in the running game. They use him as that kind of walk-in wide receiver who can then block a linebacker in the running game, and he can do that at 6'5".
I love their 1-2 punch in the backfield too. I mean, it's what you mentioned, that the sledgehammer, and then you get the guy boom through the hole, and he's making 15 yards. I mean, that's a big difference.
Yeah, but with Seahawks, it's just like all those injuries, I'm not taking too much away because, I mean, the game plan was just run, play action, play action, play action. It was just like they had whatever they wanted over the middle of the field because of that front seven being as decimated as it was.
You know, the flip side on the Seahawks, they were 3-0. They beat Bo Nix at home in his first ever start. Yeah. They beat Miami without Tua, and they beat New England. So we don't know where they're at either.
Well, I think I know more about this Seahawks team after watching them last night. I mean, I was so thoroughly impressed with Geno Smith, and he looks to be that veteran quarterback, that presence that makes your offense go. It's a lot of fun. But the defense, I mean, a lot of questions there. Can they get healthy? But Seattle proved to me they can go on the road in one of the most hostile environments and get after a really good football team. And there were one or two plays there that could have changed the course of the game. I give them a tremendous amount of credit. They were a lot of fun. DK Metcalf, so much fun to watch. Tyler Lockett still doing it. And then Kenneth Walker. That guy is so much fun.
We have to talk about
that guy, Kenneth Walker. And I mean, I know I was just drooling and fawning about David Montgomery, but I think, you know what, maybe I'd have Kenneth Walker instead. There's nothing he can't do on the football field. Every time he has the ball in his hand, you kind of are just sitting there. You don't want to blink because you never know when the thing's going to bust loose.
The play with Alex Anzalone where he gets tackled, somersaults over, gets back on his, like he intentionally somersaulted over Alex Anzalone to get himself back on his feet. Truly one of the most just impressive plays I've ever seen on a football field. And then the touchdown run where he runs at full speed into his own offensive lineman. And most guys off balance, whatever. It almost looked like it shot him backwards. Right. Like it looked like it helped him. The ricochet was like a pinball coming off the line, and he's just flying on the outside. So that one was, I mean, he's special. To have him back, that's a different offense.
They're going to be fun to watch offensively all year. If Geno continues to play like that, they're going to be fun.
I mean, they're a lot of fun. They're explosive. They have a number of different options with JSN and Lockett and DK. They're going to be dangerous, and they're not going to play a team as good as the Detroit Lions every single week. I also want to give a shout out to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Perfect drop in the bucket to Jared Goff. In traffic, and number 50 almost got there, got his hand up, but Jared Goff flashing the hands too. That was cool to watch. And Jared launches that thing into the crowd. I think Amon-Ra wants that ball back. He's probably pissed.
Well-timed trick play, unlike the night before, which was a terrible.
We had a great breakdown of that trick play. It was
a horrible call. It's a horrible. Did you guys agree?
Execution?
Yeah. We don't need to run tricks with Josh Allen.
No,
don't run any tricks.
You don't.
No.